Happy Monday, everybody. Jim Malone here at Dallas Trading Floor, coming to you live. Well, today is kind of weird. It started out really strange. The Dow, the NASDAQ's been hit really hard. A lot of the tech stocks have been hard. But you know what? It's interesting because Tesla bounced, and that's kind of cool. So let's get into the slides and kind of go from there. Well, the Dow falls, but Tesla has big gains. So there you go. It's kind of a strange thing. We're still under pressure. The market is still under pressure right now. And what that means is we've got to be really careful about our buys. We've got to be very, very careful. I'm not all in the market. I'm largely in cash, but I am doing some bear trades. As a matter of fact, I have a great bear trade on Shopify. And so this makes money. This makes about $750. And I'm going to show you a little video on it here in just a second. And of course, it's available to everybody that is in the Discord room. You can find out more about that Discord room by going to by just going to the profile. If you're on Shopify, if you're on TikTok, just go to my profile, click the link, and you'll be able to see it. Discord room, that's the special Discord room. That's where that is. But it's kind of a cool trade, and I'll be showing you that in just a second. Here's what I've got. I did buy something today. Amazing. I did buy something on, and it's it's kind of a amazing thing because it's such a pedestrian thing. But I bought shares in MUSA, Murphy Oil, MUSA. It's basically a convenience store and a gas station. They're doing very, very well. I mean, I just kind of have to show you this chart because it's really good. Overall the market has been terrible, but this one, for some reason, just seems to be zooming right along. So I did make a buy here. You can see by my little thing. I bought a full position, basically at 193.80. It's closed at 194. So we'll see where that goes. But I just kind of want to show you some of the good things about this particular stock. Now, this is not a recommendation, but this is one I'm buying. It has a 100% checklist. I kind of like that. Where everything else is lagging, this one's looking pretty good. So, what they do, it's really simple. They have good prices on gasoline, and they have convenience store. They have a lot of, snacks and stuff like that. So it seems to be doing very well. It's funny in this market. This market's, kind of a bad market, but what's doing well in this market? Well, the oils are doing well, and believe it or not, convenience stores are doing very well in this market. So this is something that you might want to look into. MUSA, Murphy USA. I did buy it today, and I just kind of want to show you the technicals on it, just slightly below that 10-day line. Now, what I do believe is going to happen here, of course, is it's going to come down to that 21-day line. That's that green line there. We're going to get a little bounce on that, hopefully, and then it's going to move right up. That's what I'm hoping. Right now, it's 0.28% above that 21-day line. You can see that's a good place to buy sometimes as a secondary buy point, because when it just comes down to that, sort of bounces up, and that is where I bought today. So we'll see what happens here on the pattern rec. Basically, it's up 27% in 109 days, which is pretty good considering pretty much they don't do anything really that unique. They sell soda, they sell gasoline, but they're doing good, really well. So I guess that, inflation, with inflation, people are still going to the convenience stores, and that seems to work. So MUSA, you might want to take a look at that one. I did buy that today. Now, everything else pretty much, with the exception of Dell, is down. Dell is up. I did make a buy in Dell. I'll show you that. Made that a few days ago. For some reason, out of the techs, this one is doing well. I guess it's because part of this COVID thing, people are going to be replacing their laptops. I guess I don't with desktops. I don't know what's going on, but I did buy a full position on the 5th, which was Wednesday last week, at 58.42. Right now, it's trading at, believe it or not, 60 to 15 after hours. So some people really like the Dell stuff. Again, I want to show you on this one. It is a pretty good checklist. Not as good as Murphy, but the 78 checklist, so that's pretty good. That's looking pretty good. And the industry and sector, not quite as good as Murphy. It's 109 out of 197, so that's not nearly as good. But on the pattern rec, it is pretty good. we're 2% above the pivot in about 28 days. So definitely we've come down, we've tested, and now we're moving back up, which I hope is the way it's going to go. Hopefully we'll crack through that 60. It looks like we are at 60.15. So hopefully it'll move above that. This is Dell. So this one I'm definitely in. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom, but I'm in Dell at this level. So let's see if I can switch back over to. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Wow, a little bit of lag on my machine here. Okay. I don't have a Dell. I have actually an Apple machine. Just wanted to show you Bitcoin, kind of what's going on with Bitcoin. Well, it went down today and it tested the $40,000 mark. That's kind of a key level for Bitcoin. I do think we're going to see some more weakness in Bitcoin as we go forward. I kind of want to come over and take a look at the GBTC. The GBTC represents about 4% of the world's Bitcoin. It is an ETF so you can trade it in your IRA. And I kind of want to take a look at this. This is the actual chart of Bitcoin, and as you can see, it came down and tested. This was about 2 o'clock. We took this slide, but for the GBTC, we still have the situation. We still have this downward trend, and it's definitely a downward trend on Bitcoin, and so we're probably going to get hopefully some support at about 30,000. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. But right now, you kind of want to hold off on your Bitcoin purchases because right now it does seem to be pulling back. So always want to try to buy as something is moving to a higher high. That always works a little bit better. All right, let's take a look at the overall market today. As I said, the Dow Jones was off. Basically, it's off almost a little over 1%, 1.39, which is a lot. The NASDAQ, though, is where it's really weak, 1.95. And the Russell's off and the S&P is off. So, we've got all three of these indexes that are struggling right now. Let's look at the Qs. The QQQ is the NASDAQ 100. And this has really had most of the damage. But today, it pulled back and then it popped back up. And the reason it did, of course, was the strength in Tesla. And I want to show you that. And, of course, I am right now bullish on Tesla. I did move my stop losses to 980. I probably will be adjusting them tonight, but that's where my stop losses are currently. The QQQ, which represents the NASDAQ 100, it did pull below that critical 21-day exponential line, but it did bounce up, and that's mainly due, I believe, to Tesla. So let's take a live chart at Tesla. This is a live chart of Tesla that we can kind of see what's going on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to clean this up. I've got a lot of notes on this, so I want them so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay, this black line here I've drawn in, this is the reversal line. So this is the line that it needs to move above. Now it's been struggling. It's been struggling, but it has this double bottom pattern where we're going to have earnings here very quickly, probably just in about 2 weeks. Yeah, it's let's see. It's the earnings for Tesla is going to be the 27th of January. So we're basically 2 weeks away from that. And I do think all the reports I'm seeing says that it's going to be a strong report. So we will see. The thing about Tesla, it's a very, very volatile. It's a very, very volatile entry, and it's hard to play. But one of the ways I'm playing it, not only do I have the shares, but I also have this spread trade. I want to kind of show you the results of that spread trade. So let's go right to that. Did I get the one previous there? Did I get the right one? I think I have the right one. Let's check. This is okay. That's Murph. Okay, let's go to oh, there we go. This is the Tesla trade that I currently have. This is the Iron Condor. And by the way, if you are in the Discord room, of course, I'm showing you all this with real time. If you want to get in on that, it's super easy to do. Just go. All you have to do is go to www.dallastradingfloor, and just click on the special Discord room. Now, this is a paid service, but a lot of people have been very successful using this, and I'm putting these trades in there as well. Today, we saw a nice bounce on Tesla, and it's coming back into the green area. So hopefully this will work out really, really well. I think it probably will because of the fact that we're very volatile, but it's looking pretty darn good in terms of that. So that is kind of there. And look at some of the other spreads that we have going on here. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see if here we go. 1, 2, 3. I think this is the right one. Yeah. So let's see if we can add this one. That's a Tesla trade. So let's go to the next one. This is the Viva trade, and Viva Systems has been pulling lower. This was really a performer last year, and I was in this long, but now I'm trying to make some more money on it as short. Now this did pull back up. As you can see, it pulled back up to 240, and I want to kind of show you how that's traded. But I do think that this is essentially a dead cat bounce, and we will see it. We will see it pull back down again. But at 240, if we're looking at it in terms of that, we're going to see it. I have it at 245, so it's still in the green, but not quite. It just bounced up a little bit, but I still think that it's just as long as it stays level, we'll be fine. We'll probably make all the money on this one too. So this is a bear trade, and the Tesla trade, of course, is an iron condor. And let's see, one last. There we go. Now I should be back now. I don't know why it removed my audio, but it did. It removed my audio. Here's the one I bought long today, and this is Murphy. This is the convenience store company that I really like, and hopefully it will do well. So without further ado, let's get into some of the questions. Thank you very much for holding on here. Hans, let's look at Square. Now, I did have a trade on Square. I did close it for a profit. It was a bear trade. And, Square, which is called Block now, they changed the name, has, it says, thoughts on say, where do you think the bottom of this stock is? Well, I think it's a lot lower. I think the bottom of this stock is going to be, it's probably going to be around the 100 mark. I think it's going to continue to move down. Here's why I think that. Here's my reasoning on that. So I just kind of want to put this in here. This is what they call the death cross. And what this is when the 50-day line moves below the 200-day line, like it is here, basically back here in November, that indicates that there's weakness in the stock and it's probably going to go south. That's definitely the case here with Square. Now, this is essentially a head with shoulders pattern. This is a head. That's what they call the head here. This is the right shoulder, and I think you could consider this being the left shoulder. Typically, when a stock breaks down, and that's definitely the case here, you have the higher left shoulder, you have the head, and then you have the right shoulder. And then what happens is it breaks down, and then it tries to rally back to the 21-day line, and that's definitely the case here. It's rallied once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and it once, twice, and then it's just been below the 10-day line ever since. So my guess on this one, it's probably going lower. Let's look at the technicals. They're all negative. It's below the 200-day line. It's below the 50-day line. It's below the 21-day line, and it is below the 10-day line. So this is not one we want to be in right now. It's got a weak checklist as well. So here's the thing. This stock essentially is shortable, believe it or not. And I did short this one, and I did close it. I did close it for a profit. So this is definitely the case here. This was shortable, and I shorted it, and we did have it for quite a bit of a time. Let's take a look at the next question from TikTok. Thank you very much. You are clueless. Okay, well, everybody has a right to their opinion. That's absolutely true. You absolutely have the right to your opinion. Okay, let's see. We talked about Square. That's going south. Roku. let's take a look at Roku and see kind of what's going on there. All right, Roku. Roku also has this pattern. This is a downward trending pattern. This may be potentially a good short as well. Typically, some of the best shorts are going to be stocks that were formerly really, really good. And that's definitely the case with Roku. It definitely has a pattern that may indicate a very good likelihood of a short. And always when you're shorting, you want to short as it's moving up. Now, I don't short directly. I use bear put spreads typically to do this. So that's kind of how I operate in this. Let me just show you a little video here that we've got. This is a trade that I'm putting on today, that I just put on, and I will have more about this later on. I'm going to email this out. If you're on the email list, you should be able to get this. But let's
Shopify. As you know, Shopify has been one of the very best performing stocks in the last year or so. But things have changed, and now the stock is moving lower. To the right is a chart of Shopify. As you can see, it is pulled well below the black line. That's the 200-day moving average, and it looks like it's going lower. So in this case, we can make money in a trade like this.
What I'm doing right now is I'm showing
goes lower.
The video.
Here is a heat map of the trade.
On YouTube.
As you can see, as the stock goes lower,
just go to my profile,
into the profit
scroll all the way down. There's a live
I want to show you
with the
how
video
this trade could be done.
I'm showing you
Earlier today, on Monday, I entered this trade
Shopify
for a total of $12.50 for two contracts, or $6.25 for each contract. What I did is I bought two February 1180, February 18th expiry puts, and I simultaneously sold to 1170 February 18th puts for a total out of the pocket expense of $12.50. Now, if the price of Shopify stays below 1173.75 by February 18th, I will collect. I will collect on this a return of about 60%, or $750 for the trade. The likelihood of my success in this case, based on the current conditions, is a little bit over 60%.
As we show it, okay. So there we go. So that's kind of the deal. And let's go to the next one. Lots on Jack. Any word on Spider? Okay, let's take a look on the Spider. The Spider, of course, is the world's largest ETF. Well, it used to be. I think it still is. And it covers the S&P 500, and it's been under pressure a lot as of late. It tested below that 50-day line. So hopefully we're going to have a reversal on it. It does look like we had a reversal after hours. It's up just slightly, 19 cents. So not a lot on that. The question is, where is it going from here? My guess is that we're going to see a lot of volatility. There was a buy point on the Spider right here at 454.05, and it's moved up a little bit there. The question is, I think we're going to get some support at that line. So expect a bounce tomorrow, but I don't think this is very healthy right now. I don't think this one is very healthy. So, that's kind of my thought on it. I do think we're going to definitely get a bounce. So there you go. There you go on Spider. Let's look at BIG. B-I-G. I don't know what BIG is. B-I-G. This is some notorious Biggie Smalls, right? Big Lots. Okay, well, this is in the retail sector, and you know what? The discount stores, some of them have been doing very well. Actually, the area that you probably want to look at if you're looking to retail right now is in the convenience store area. That tends to be a really good area, and that's why I did buy MUSA today. But it looks as if Big Lots may have gotten some support at about the $40 level. I'm hoping it did. But it's still very weak. It's got a relative strength of 29. Just not something you want to buy. It's below that. It's below the 50-day moving average. Just not something you want to get involved with right now. The checklist is weak. It's only 44. Let's look at the technicals. It's below. You just don't want to buy anything that's below that 200-day line. And unfortunately, right now, Big Lots is 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 16.42% below the 200-day line. So it's not something you can buy. So this currently big lots, unfortunately, it's just not buyable as it, it's just not viable. So yeah. So you just really can't buy this one. Oops. Let's see if we can get big is not viable. So it just really isn't viable right here. So basically, you got to pass on this one, unfortunately. Here's the thing: if you're down more than 7% on this one, consider selling it and then waiting for a better entry, because it doesn't look like this one. This one's below the 200-day line. Just not a good look on this. Not a good place. Not a good place. So never let a stock move against you more than 7%. That's really the thing here. You want to be careful about that. So I would not be a buyer of this. If I was down more than 7%, I would really consider selling it and waiting for a better entry, because that just doesn't look good for big lots, unfortunately. All right, let's see. And SN. Let's look at SN. Oh, I'm not getting anything. SNY, excuse me. SNY. Let's see what's pulling up here. Okay, this is a French developer. Oh, okay, so this is vaccines. Tough area. I would be a little bit careful in this area, just because it's so volatile. I would not be a buyer of this one. It's pulled above the 200. It's pulled above the 200-day line, which is a good thing, but it's very volatile. I would just pass on this one. I just would pass on this. It's got a weak checklist. I think what you got to do on this one really is, it's just pass. I just think that is going to be your best bet. So, I would pass on it. I would pass on this one. I think that's really kind of what you got to do, because it's just really not set up right, and it's just going to be tough. So you want to set yourself up for your best. You want to set, when you're buying stock, especially stock long, you want to set yourself up for your best, your best potential. And unfortunately, this is not in that league. Let's take a look at something else from. Thoughts on Roku. Thank you very much. Are you still in Tesla? Absolutely, I still am in Tesla. And as a matter of fact, I may be adding to the position if it shows strength. I also am in a iron condor. So I definitely am in Tesla. And let's pull up that stock again, because we did pull it up a little bit earlier. And by the way, if you're looking on TikTok, you can see all this, no problem. Just go to my profile, scroll on down, and you'll see the live YouTube feed. We definitely have a very nice action after hours on Tesla. We did sort of have this bounce. We went down to. Here's the thing about Tesla: the way it's trading, tends to trade on the even numbers. 1,000 is a very important is a very important support. Also, you'll notice that the buy point on Tesla is 900. So it kind of goes in these 100 increments. It went down below 1,000, it got support, and it moved back up. So it moved above that reversal line that I put in there. So I do think, oops, I wouldn't pass on Tesla. Let's I have the wrong thing. I definitely am in Tesla. Let's do it the right way. I definitely am in Tesla. I definitely am in Tesla. Just kind of wanted to show you what's going on. It's got support at that 1,000 level, which is so important. And then their buy point is 900. So I am definitely still in Tesla. And I also have an iron condor as well on that. So thanks for that question. Really like it. How do you like that that SPY bounce today? I definitely do. Definitely liked it. But I still think that there's going to be weakness in the market. It did go down. It tested. It came back up to it came back up to the 40-day line, which is very healthy. That's very healthy. So we definitely got some support there. Hopefully we'll have a reversal above the 21-day line. That's this green line here. if we have a bounce above that 21-day line, that might be a good place to possibly get in to the market if we have a change in the character of the market. Currently, we are in a market trend under pressure, so it's difficult right now. It's real difficult market to trade. All right, let's look at AMD, and of course, this is in one of the number one sectors, which is the semiconductor fabless. Terrific stock, and it looks like we got some support on it today, which is nice. It's up after hours, 132. So this, looking at this chart, we may have some support here. We don't. The last true buy point was about 114.49. It's currently at 132. So it is, hopefully we're going to get some support here. There's no real level of support. Let's just draw that line across. There's no real level of support here, but I do think that we will get some support here, and hopefully we'll see a reversal. We're going to have another blue candle tomorrow with some good volume action. But right now, I think it's not the time to buy. Let it confirm. Let it move above this red line here, that being the 40-day moving average. So that's really kind of where you got to go on this. Let's take a look and see how it's doing. The checklist is good, but there are some better ones out there. So you got to be a little bit careful. I wouldn't buy it right now. I'd wait for it to reverse, possibly up to about 140, and at about 140, I would be very interested in it. But it did lose some support. It tested, and it's moving. It's hopefully going to move higher. So I really like the stock. It's just very volatile, tough one to own because it's kind of all over the place. Can you check KMI? Pays a 6. Okay, I'll take a look at KMI. If you're looking for dividends, probably some of the best are going to be in the REITs. Kinder Morgan, of course, is a very good one. It's a pipeline company based in Houston, and it has done very, very well. So let's go over to the fundamentals here and kind of look at it. It's got some very nice sales growth here, as you can see, and the profits have been good as well. It pays a very, very nice. It has a 190 cash flow, which is very good. The PE is 13. It's just a little bit high, a little bit elevated, but overall very good. Very, very good on that. So with the PE of 13, to get the PE, you're gonna get it's gonna be about 11 PE, and the EPS, it's been growing 13%. So overall, quite good. The thing is, this is really an income play more than anything else, and they ought to do well because there is going to be some more demand in in the oils, and this isn't really in the oils. This, of course, is a pipeline company, but it should do very well. The technicals on this are very good. The 40-week line, it's right above the 40-week line, about 1%, which is good, above the 10-week line and above the 3-week line. So this is on the weekly chart, so it's looking pretty good. I do believe it has reversed and it is moving higher. Look to this for this to move above the 200-day moving average, and let's see if it's buyable now. It's just barely buyable under my criteria. I always look. Here's the thing. I still believe it's in a downward trend. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a reversal line across here, and I'm going to set an alert on that. And what basically is, let's see if I get that right. There we go. Okay. On this reversal line, let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I can set it. On this reversal line, what I'm doing here is this is the. Oh, can I get that? Yeah. So let's see if I can set the alert. Okay. And this should let me set that on. There we go. So here's the thing about Kinder Morgan. It does have a very nice double bottom pattern, and it is moving higher. Probably the correct buy point on this one, you could buy it a little bit early, but the correct buy point on this is about 18.40. So, I mean, you want it to go about another $1 a share here in order to get it at the correct buy point. But it's looking very strong. It's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up days in a row. That's very good. I do think you're going to get a little pullback probably to the 200-day line, and then hopefully if it gets support there, it will move back up. So I wouldn't buy it right away. I would wait until it moves above that reversal line. that reversal line is at about 1840. So that's where we want to be for that. If you're going to buy it off the reversal line, I think you need to buy it above. You need to buy it above that line. So for Kinder Morgan, for KM, I would buy above the reversal line at 1840. So if it moves above 1840, that's probably where you want to get in. I still think it's a little bit weak. It's a little, on the pattern, it's a little bit weak. It does have a double pattern. I want to see it confirm. I'm interested in buying it, but only if it can move and stay above 1840. That's really kind of where I see it. But that's a great question, and very much appreciate you bringing that. That's a good company. Very good, very good one. And it probably does pay a dividend. I didn't see that on my listing, but it does have a very good PE ratio, as would be the case with something that would be in this area because of the fact that they're transporting oil, and it's going to have very stable earnings. Let's look at MU, which is Micron. Now, this one is one of my favorite stocks. I haven't been able to successfully buy it in several years. I haven't really been able to successfully deal with it, but it is a great stock. There was sort of a breakout here. There was a cup with handle, and there's an 89.05 buy point. It went up, it pulled back. It got support at the 21-day line. The question is, can we buy this, and is it a good checklist? It's an excellent checklist, by the way. MU is looking very, very strong. This is one of the few of the semis that I really like because it is looking so strong. It is got a 100% checklist. Let's look at the pattern rec on it. It's 5% above the pivot. This is absolutely viable right now. Right now. On the technicals, we're above all the major indexes, above the 200, above the 50, above the 21. We're just almost right at the 10-day line. As you can see, that's an almost perfect place to buy it. Let's kind of look at the fundamentals for Micron. This is really a great stock. Look at this. Its earnings have gone up every quarter. By the way, if you see a stock that is gaining 20% sales every quarter, that's when you really want to look at. Not only that, look at the amount of earnings. They are up 100% every quarter. That's just incredible. Interesting thing about this, has an extremely strong cash flow. This is a $92 stock that has a cash flow of $11.90. This is a really low PE, 13. And you compare that to NVIDIA and some of the other stocks, this is incredible. Also its EPS is growing, so I really like this stock. I do think you can enter it right now. I think this is viable right now at this level. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, that's what it's showing to me. So MU is viable right now, and that's the kind of stock you want to be looking for, because it's checking all the boxes. It's got it's got that excellent checklist, 100%. Almost no stocks that have that. Another thing I want to point out to you is the relative strength is 90. That is excellent. And by the way, you notice how this price action is moving that way. This is the S&P 500, and it's moving above. It's moving at a higher slope than this S&P 500. So this is improving against the S&P. So this stock is improving against the S&P 500, whereas the S&P 500 is relatively flat. This one is moving higher. It also just tested the 21-day line. So it looks as if, and it's within 5% of the buy point. So this is a very, very good setup, and definitely one that you could buy. So MU should be, if not on the top of your list, should be close to the top of your list, because this is an excellent stock, and it's excellently set up to buy right now. Now, most of the, right now it's tough to buy stocks because we're in this, the uptrend is under pressure, and that's difficult. So it's difficult to buy at this level, but this is looking very, very good. Okay, let's look at one last one here. What's the future of Neo? I couldn't tell you, but let's take a look at Kohl's first. That's KSS, and they're one of the big. There's only six stocks in this group, but this group has been doing well. This is a department store group. For years, it was terrible, and now it's looking better. But this is not an ideal place to buy Kohl's, and part of the reason it isn't is because it's come down. And basically what it did is it tested this consolidation. It does have a sort of a floor at 45.34, and it does look like it's tested there, and it may be moving up. But I don't think this is necessarily where you want to be in the market right now. The checklist is only a 44, not good looks there. On the pattern recognition, we're 25% below the pivot, and on the technicals, we're under the 200-day line. So on Kohl's here, Kohl's just is not looking too good. So for Kohl's, what I have to say is you gotta pass on it because it's just not looking good. So KSS is a pass. It's a pass. Let's look at Macy's. That's sort of the other one in the group. But KSS, you don't want to buy that one. Not looking strong. Let's look at Macy's. That's symbol M. And we did so well in this one earlier in the year. I haven't really been in this one. I was in this one last year. Not really in it right now. This is of the two, of KSS and of Kohl's and Macy's. This is doing better. It's above that 200-day line, but it's still pretty weak. It came up to the 50-day line. It was rejected. So this is not all that strong. There is a buy point at 22.30, an old buy point, but really, I'm not really that pleased with it right now. It is above the 200-day line, but it's below everything else. And on the pattern recognition, just really not the way to be. It's 15% from the pivot. Of the two of these department store stocks, Macy's is the better of the two. So kind of wanted to put that forward for everyone. All right, let's look at some of the other questions. Let's see. Snapchat. Let's take a look at Snapchat. I don't think Snap's doing too well right now. Let me just check it. Yeah, it's really not doing all that well. Snapchat has got what they call the death cross. This is a formation that happens and this is something you don't really want to have happen. That's when the 40-day line moves below that 200-day line. The 200-day line, of course, being this black line, the 40-day line being the red line. This connotes weakness in the stock. As you can see, it's been very, very weak. It's come down to 40. It may be getting some support at 40, but overall, Snap is just not snapping it. It's not snapping right now. Let's look at the technicals. It's below all the major indexes. It's below the 200-day. It's below the 60, 50-day, 21-day, and 10-day. It's 32% below the 200-day line. Just not something you want to own. So, this one just doesn't work. Unfortunately, it's just a pass, and really there's nothing more you can do it. So, for Snap, SNAP, Snap just is a pass. It's tough to buy right now because many of the techs that you're so familiar with, they are not doing well. Only a very few of them are doing well. So with Snap, I think you gotta avoid it. I don't think it's that good a stock right now. The chart says that it's going to go lower. Unfortunately, just kind of the way it is. All right. Well, we're almost to the end here. We probably got some last questions. Let's take a look. Okay. Let's look at we took a look at Roku. We look at Square. Why Moderna went up? Well, who knows? The vaccine stocks are really tough. They just tend to be difficult because they are so politically motivated. And so any little bit of news and it just kind of moves them. It's still Moderna is still in a downward trend. I want to kind of show you this. Moderna is still in a downward trend. I mean, it did move up a little bit today, but that is what they call a dead cat bounce. When if you throw a cat on the floor hard enough, and they're dead, they're going to bounce. It bounced, but it bounced up to the 10-day line. This one just had the death cross. Just want to show you that. Again, this is a sign. This isn't always going to be correct, but whenever this happens, whenever that 50-day line moves below that 200-day line, that's where you got to start worrying, because that shows weakness. And even though it did move up today, I think the trend for Moderna is lower. So I would not be in Moderna either. I wouldn't be in Moderna either. Okay, well, thank you very, very much. Let's see if we have any more questions from TikTok. We talked about, what is an iron condor? Good question. An iron condor is a bull put spread and a bull call spread together. And I recommend that you Google this, because it is a great way to play stocks where there's a lot of heavy, it's a great way to play stocks that have where there's a lot of volatility and it's going to go sideways. By the way, I'm probably going to put together a video on this for everybody so they can kind of see what in the heck an iron condor is. It's an options play. And if you want to get on the action trailer, it's super easy to do. Just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor. All right, let's look at, what about NEO? Okay, let's look at NEO. NEO has not been good since last summer. It's kind of like, it's kind of not doing so well, unfortunately. I want to show you NEO again. NEO also has it has the death cross as well. It's been trying to come back, but I do think, based on what I'm seeing here, and I'm going to extend this reversal line here, I do think that what we're seeing with NEO, and I just put the reversal line, we're going to see it move. It's still moving to the downside. Unfortunately, this line is telling me that NEO is likely to move lower. So you just can't get into it when it's pulling back like this. Not a good look. So, NEO was great, a year ago, 6 months ago, but it's not so nice now. So that's really kind of how I wanted to say that. Let's see if I've got any more questions. Let's take a look. Thoughts on, great question on the TQQQ. Any thoughts on the TQQQ? Well, what the TQQQ is, by the way, is it is the QQQ, but it is leverage. So if the QQQ goes up 1%, the TQQQ typically goes up 2 to 3%. Now, it is in sync. The TQQQ is in sync with the QQQ. Now, the SQQQ, which is another one of these, is opposite. So if you think the Qs are going up, which they didn't today, they went down, then you would want to buy the TQQQ, because if the QQQ, if you think the QQQ is going down, you want to buy the SQQQ. Currently, what happened with the TQQQ is it did reverse early in the day. It was going down, and then boom, later in the day it hit the 200-day moving average and bounced. It's currently at 144. I think the one I want to direct your attention to is the SQQQ. Now, I wouldn't recommend necessarily buying this right now, but this one is likely to, this is going to do a reverse split. This one is likely to go up if the market sells off. As you can see, it's just been all the way down. But if the market sells off, this one is likely to go up. You don't want to buy this unless it moves above about $8 a share. Currently, it's $6.71. So this is one you might be interested in. It's called the SQQQ. So there's two of these. There's the TQQQ, which moves in sympathy. So if the QQQ goes up 1%, typically the TQQQ goes up 2 to 3%. If the QQQ goes down, the SQQQ will go down 2 to 3% as well. So that's, you kind of use this for hedging. That's sort of sort of the way it goes. All right. And did we do SNY? I think we did. Okay, so let's see if we have any more. Oh, great. Well, thank you for joining, by the way. If you want to get on, Ford. This question from TikTok. Can we look at Ford to see what's going on? Actually, of the automobile manufacturers, Ford and Tesla are doing the best out of the two. Now, I currently don't own Ford. I did own Ford. I did sell it at a profit. I do own Tesla though, and I've been actively buying Tesla. We do have on Ford a little bit of a resistance right here at 25. So that's kind of the next hurdle that it has to clear. If we're looking at the volume, we're seeing a decreasing volume. We're seeing a decreasing volume. So fewer people are willing to sell. So I do believe that we are going to see, if it can move above this 25, then I think it may move into the next realm. But right now, it's kind of going sideways. And on the technicals, looking pretty good. It's 65%, 55% above the 200-day line. Yeah, it's better. It's above the 50, 21, and 10-day line. So all very good. It has moved up 45% since the last pivot in 56 days ago. So absolutely amazing. And I was buying it actually as it came out of this pivot. This is why everybody, you want to buy things as they're coming out of a pivot, because it could be a very strong move. And that's definitely been the case for Ford. As it came out of this pivot, it did pull back, but then it moved right on up. So the ideal place to buy Ford now is not going to be to buy it now, but it's going to be to wait for another base to form. For instance, this is a cup to form, and then once that does, then as it moves above that buy point, that's where you want to buy it. So very interesting on Ford. So I wouldn't be a buyer right now just because it's extended above the buy point that happened back at 1645, but it is moving higher. Interesting. IBM. I haven't talked much about IBM in many years. Of course, I remember when it dominated the computer business. Of course, that's no longer the case. Primarily, right now, IBM is primarily a services company. Here's what you want to do with IBM. I don't think you want to buy IBM. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. It's sort of past its prime, companies. But there is a company that's very similar to IBM in terms of the way it is going, that I do think you want to look at, and that's HPE. That's Hewlett Packard Enterprise. This is the old EDS. This one is looking quite good, actually, much better than IBM. And not only that, it's a less expensive company. Unless it's been $17 a share. It's moved right above this flat base buy point at $15.95. So it's only $1 above that. So it's right pretty much almost in the range. So let's look at it on the technicals. We're only, this is absolutely viable. It's basically 3% above the 10-day line. It's got an 89 checklist. This is almost as good as it gets. One more and it would get it would be excellent, totally excellent. This is looking very good for a in the space. I want to show you the fundamentals here. We have seen relatively weak growth in terms of the sales, but the profits have been very, very good. So if you're looking at IBM, you probably want to also look at this one. You want HPE. Look at this. It's a $17 stock, and yet it has a cash flow of $3.74 a share. That's unbelievable. It's got a PE ratio of 9. Now, typically, this is not necessarily a great thing, but in this market with the rising interest rates, companies are being rewarded if they have a low PE ratio. This is definitely the case with HPE, and I think it's got a better PE ratio than IBM. So let's take a look at IBM and compare them just so we can see IBM. Of course, what I'm doing here is fundamental analysis. This is not technical analysis. This is fundamental analysis. Let's look at this one. You notice that IBM has a PE ratio of 16, and it isn't producing nearly as much cash flow for its size. It's $135 a share, and it has $16 a share in terms of income. So it does have a earnings. Its earnings per share growth rate is a negative 9%. So that's not looking good. We also had a loss there. So if I was looking at IBM, I wouldn't. I would look at HPE instead if I wanted to be in this same area, because this is the superior stock in terms of this area. They're in exactly the same area, computer technical services area. They're in both the same area. So let's look at IBM again, just to compare it. A computer technical service, absolutely same group, but the leader is not IBM. The leader is HPE. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be in the stock. Okay, I think we have one last question. Let's take a look. All right, Notorious. All right, Notorious. Thank you very, very much. Okay, well, I will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I typically come on from 4 until about 5 or so, or however long we have with questions. If you want to get a look at that great trade,
Hi, this is Jim Malone with
if you want to get a look at this trade, definitely want to look, get onto our action trade alerts. Very easy to do. All you have to do is just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor. And of course, all the information on this, of course, is available to the people that are in special Discord service. But we're also going to be sending out some free action trade alerts. You can also get in on that too, just by going to www.Dallas Trading Floor and signing up. So until tomorrow at 4 o'clock, thank you everybody so much. Just love trying to do the show. Don't worry, we're going to come into a better market. Right now, it's a tough time to trade. We're not in a confirmed uptrend. We're in a market trend under pressure. We want to have mostly cash right now, and I am also putting out bear trades, which make money when stocks go down. So everybody, I will see you back here tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Thanks everybody, and happy trading.